Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, have a great activity. Let me introduce myself. My name is Fariz Fadhlurrahman. I am a medical student of Bengkulu University, and our honorable supervisor, Ma'am Wisma Yunita, as our lecturer. So in this video, I would like to present to you the article that I already found in internet entitled "Passive Smoker During Pregnancy is Risk Factor of Low Birth Weight." So in this presentation, we were talking about the four main things about the article. The first thing is the background of the article. The second, the objectives or aim the article. The third is material and method. And the fourth, we're going to see the result and the conclusion of the article. So moving on to the background of this article is concerning about the LBW, or we can call low birth weight, and the neonatal mortality rate that already has a lot of cases in Indonesia and in other countries. Neonatal mortality rate is defined as the number of infants under 28 days of age who die, divided by the number of live birth in a year. In Indonesia, in 2012, neonatal mortality rate in Indonesia was 19 of 1,000 live birth. The highest causes of neonatal death in Indonesia is in East Java, is caused by low birth weight. Low birth weight, or LBW itself, is about 38.03%. LBW, or we can call low birth weight, is defined as a birth weight of less than 2,500 grams, up to and including 2,499 grams, regardless of the gestational age. LBW associated with increased morbidities and mortalities in neonates. This situation leads to several complications such as hypothermia, respiratory distress, feeding intolerance, hypoglycemia, or below normal neurodevelopment compared with term infants. Many risk factors contribute to LBW, and one of the important factors is environment, such as passive smoke exposure. For the LBW, we can take the example that relate to us is like a premature baby. Babies born at 36 to 37 weeks usually look like small full-term baby. Premature baby will be small and look very fragile. For the skin, it might not be fully developed and may appear shiny, translucent, dry, or flaky. The baby may not have any fat under the skin to keep them warm. And for the eyes, the eyelids of premature baby may be first shut at first. By 30 weeks, they should be able to respond to different size. For the development of the immature, the baby might not be able to regulate his body temperature, breathing, or heart rate. They may twitch, become stiff or limp, or be unable to stay alert. For the hair, the baby may have little hair on its head, but lots of soft body hair, or we can call it lanugo. And the genital, for the baby genital, may be small and underdeveloped. The prevalence of smoking among Indonesians is high as in many other developing countries. Indonesia is in the third place of smokers of the world after China and India. Basic Health Research in 2013 had reported that 36% of Indonesian people were active smokers. Passive smoking has been described as secondhand tobacco smoking, defined as the involuntary inhaling smoke from other people who are active smokers. Based on the data, East Java has high prevalence of LBW and smoker, especially in the city Surabaya. Some health center working areas in Surabaya already had data on the prevalence of LBW itself, where Wonokromo Health Center had the highest LBW prevalence. In other health centers, such as in Wonokusumo, no previous published studies were done that related the impact of intrauterine fetal exposure to environmental tobacco smoke on maternal delivery of lower weight at population level. It means that there's a lot of risks that we can meet in our daily activities. Like we already know, Indonesia is the third place of smoker of the world after China and India, which means we can take a conclusion that a lot of society in Indonesia doing smoke in our environment, which means it can make us as the passive smoker itself. Talking about the aim of this article, the aim of the article is to analyze the relationship between passive smoker of pregnant woman with lower weight itself. So moving on to material and method. This study was an observational analytic study using case control design. Population in this study was all pregnant women who delivered in Wonokusumo Health Center region in January 2016 until December 2017. Samples were divided into case group and control group. In women with LBW invent served as case group with purposive sampling, and those with normal birth weight served as control group with a quota sampling. Uh, in this method, the article only included women who gave birth to singleton babies without congenital defects, women with a chronic medical condition before and during pregnancy, such as hypertension, diabetes mellitus, heart disease, and renal disease. To control the confounding effect of maternal age on birth weight, only women who aged around 20 until 35 years old were included in this study. They exclude women who live not in Wonokusumo Health Center region and exposed to smoke during transportation minimally and an hour every day. Data on infant birth weight were collected from the medical record of Wonokusumo Health Center. Data on mothers, socio-demographic, and exposure to smoke were collected by questionnaire. The questionnaire items were about the number of smokers living together, the number of cigarette smoke, and duration of the exposure. So we're gonna see the result and the discussion about this article. Tobacco smoke that contains more than 7,000 chemicals is a human carcinogen and toxic agent that is suspected to contribute to adverse human health. Those chemicals are free radicals, carbon monoxide, nicotine, and tar. They contribute to disrupt hemoglobin function to distribute oxygen and nutrition for fetus. They also lead to feed deficiency and hypertension of pregnancy. Such condition causes intrauterine growth restriction and preterm delivery, and infant will have LBW. Like we can know from the result and the discussion itself, tobacco smoke that really dangerous for our body. Like smoke itself contains more than 7,000 chemical, is a human carcinogen and toxic agent, which this content will contribute to our body, to our hemoglobin, to disrupt the hemoglobin function itself, to distribute oxygen and nutrition for fetus. And also the smoke itself will lead to feed deficiency and hypertension of pregnancy. That will be impact for the birth, will have LBW or low birth weight itself, that will be very dangerous for the baby itself. The study involves 68 samples, 34 as case group and 34 as control group. Table 1 describes the characteristic of the case and control group. Education level of control group was higher than case group. Most of the women in control group, 64.3%, were workers. Habits of drinking herbal in case group, 87.5% was higher than in control group. There was no significant difference in the parity status, interval of pregnancy, and abstinence from food during pregnancy between the two groups. A comparison of birth weight between case and control group is described in the table 2. Most 61.5% pregnant women in the case group were passive smoker. The higher the number of active smokers inside the house, the higher the number of cigarette smoke. Statistical tests in the study were chi-square test. The p-value was 0.027, which means that passive smoking of pregnant women had relationship with LBW and had an ODD's ratio of 3.0495%. The result underscored that environmental factor is one of the risk factors to LBW. This observation was supported by other studies, which suggested that smoke exposure during pregnancy reduced birth weight. Number of active smokers inside the same house with pregnant women had relationship with LBW. However, the strength of correlation was low. The study had of 2.98%. Active smoker of a husband or other housemate who smoke inside the house when the subject is present increased the intensity of the exposure. Tobacco smoke has more toxic substance because it does not undergo filtering process. This also demonstrated that an increasing level of exposure to cigarette smoke of women exposed to the partner. Smoking had reduced greatly the infant's birth weight. Duration of cigarette smoke exposure to pregnant women had relationship with LBW. This study showed low strength of correlation of 3.15%. The effect of indoor pollution on health depended of type, quantity, and duration. Duration of cigarette smoke exposure disrupt blood circulation, which carries oxygen. For infant, we were the article, the author of the article aware of the limitation of the study, including that the research location was only in Wonokusumo Health Center region, Surabaya, Indonesia, so the result of the study could not be generalized. The conclusion of the article is smoking is really threatens every life. Like we already know that smoking has a lot of chemical, more than 7,000 of the chemical that will disrupt the hemoglobin function, that will impact to the baby weight, that will impact to our body, that causes many diseases to our body. So for the conclusion of this article, there was a relationship between passive smokers of pregnant women with decreased birth weight. Also, the article found that the number of active smokers living together with pregnant women, the number of cigarettes smoked inside the same house with pregnant women, and duration of tobacco smoke exposure of pregnant women had relationship with LBW. So that's all. That's all of about my presentation for this time. I'm sorry for there's a lot of mistake and still of lacking of the information. Thank you very much for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.